Better Low Interactive co-founder and CEO Minhaz-Us-Salaaken Fahme will talk about seeking investors, fundraising, and fund management for indie studios. Hi, Minaz, welcome again.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Of course, thanks for joining. You can start when you're ready. You will have roughly 15 minutes time.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'm going to share my screen here. Can you see the slide?
We are waiting for, yeah. Okay, we can see it.
All right. So just to be clear that we have question answer session after the talk, maybe. So like if you guys have anything like in the audience left from me, so I'll be happy to answer. So once again, thank you for having me. Indieway December. So I hope you guys are having fun in person there. And thank you for having me. And today we're going to talk about one of the most beautiful yet ugliest topic in the society, which is basically money. So it's basically fundraising for your indie game business. So we can go on about whether money is a beautiful thing or it's an ugly thing and all these philosophical debates about these things, but today is not the day for that. So today we're going to talk about games and how you can fund games. So let's before we move into any deeper, let's introduce myself. So as you can see, my name is Minhaj, or you can call me by my last name as well, that's fine. So we established with my co-founder, I established Better Low Interactive back in 2015. So for the past 8 years, we have been in the service providing industry, in the game industry, and also we have been working with serious game development. But eventually, when I wrote my book, How to Make a Game during the pandemic, when the pandemic started, so I came, the realization came back to me that I would need to go back to, I want to go back to doing my original thing. I mean, making my own games. So when that thought came back to me, like it was sort of a self-realization journey, as you can say. Then we formed Sleepy Penguin Studios. So it's basically the B2C game studio that we have right now. So we are working with our own indie game through that studio, on that studio. So, and I did successfully completed the fundraising part for that studio. And my talk will revolve around the journey of the last couple of years or more, actually more than a couple of years of thinking about the studio to raising trying to raise funds, talking to people and different failures, and also how I came to success for my thing. So yeah, and my nickname in my company is The Flash, and also today is my birthday. So this is the first time for me that I'm giving a talk on my birthday. So I'm really happy and excited. So that is Better Low Interactive, as I've told you, and the Sleepy Penguin logo, as you can see. And so we'll start the talk with a video, if you can say this. So it's basically a game. It's called Paratopic. It came out in 2018. Let's watch the trailer first. So this game came out in 2018, and the topic of this game was the sad and brutal reality of being poor. And bear me with this, the developer of this game has suffered from poverty itself. So he used to work 20 hours a day during February 2018, and having only 1 meal a day because he didn't have enough money. And he suffered quite a lot. He suffered quite a lot to make this game. Like poverty hit him hard, but he kept going, and his game eventually did good, but it was a heavy price to pay. Like the game was itself, like it is a very irony that the topic of the game was the sad parts of being poor, and the developer himself so suffered from poverty itself while making the game. So if we move in this into a further stat, which tell us that the median sale of an indie game on Steam is less than $4,000. In fact, 50% of the games on Steam can never go past 5,000 US dollars. Like that's the top limit that they make. Those 50%, like half of the games. So if you can see, like 1 out of every 2 games on Steam, like they make less than $5,000. And considering how much they cost to make, so you can say that like these are financially failure stories. Also, like about the success, like 1 in 100 indie games make over $7 million on Steam. So like, yeah, $7 million is good money, of course, for indie studios, but only 1 out of 100 studios do that on Steam. So these things, like when I tell them, so these can make you sad, and this can like dampen the spirit of making games. Like that's natural, right? But here's the catch. Like every cloud, every dark cloud, like has a silver lining, and games industry is no different, trust me. So let's look at this particular stat. So the success story of the failure story, let's go. So for the first ones, like the revenue of below like $1,000 or something like that. So they're like the huge chunk of developers, this 57%. So they cannot make enough money. So for in lifetime of the games. But then comes the hobbyist, and then comes the indie. And from that indie section, you can start seeing the success. You can start seeing the success. It's not success, it's not there yet, but you can start seeing money coming in. And when you're making money, at least something, so that's a start. And yes, I agree that over 30,000 people or 40,000 people, they did not make it. But as you can see, around 5,000 people also made it. So there are people like me and you, made of flesh and blood and love for games. So they got their success with similar size of teams that we have. So there have been not 1, not 2, not 100, but thousands of successful examples out there as well. Yes, the percentage might like seem a bit odd because you see 57% of the people failing, but that's normal because a lot of people are coming into the industry. That's good. But you should not dampen your spirit by seeing that stat. You should see how many people got successful. So I understand that there is only Lionel Messi in the world, but you don't have to be a Lionel Messi in football, in game development, to be a successful game developer. You can be someone like who stays in that 1,000 bracket, 1 out of those 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 people who make like 100K to $1 million or more from the game industry. And then you can go up the ladder from there. So that should be a target. And that's how you should try to set the mindset, because this will help you a lot. Otherwise, it can get a bit complicated for you because those stats, the other stats, the percentage stats are not good. But here's another thing, that in terms of money, in terms of actual money made out of Steam, indie games, they capitalize almost like 40% of all units sold on Steam. So that's a huge number. So consider that, like if you are a big fan of comparison, it's like those AAA studios are like big studios releasing the game on Steam. But at the same time, you as an indie developer with a small team, 2 or 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, 15 people, or even just one guy fighting a lone wolf. So you're out there making money and you're fighting head to head with those numbers. So this is the place for the poor to come in. This is the place for the people who are not rich, but yet have undying passion for games, want to make good games. So you come in and you can fight your battle in here. So yeah, you have to try, you have to pursue your dreams. And that's what this is good about this industry, that this industry actually lets you pursue your dreams. I mean, there are different other industries that I should not name probably in my talk, that, you know, those are filled with politics, filled with different dramas that typically won't allow somebody to. Hello. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can hear you. Yep.
Sorry about the disruption. Yeah, we got disconnected for a bit. Well, we were talking about dreams. So yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, you have to pursue your dreams. And this is the particular industry. This is one of the very few industries in this world, in this modern world, that lets you pursue your dreams, get helped, get supported by the community, and still get there, still fight with the big guns. That does not happen in many other industries. So if you are working in the industry, my friend, consider yourself blessed, because we truly are. Moving on. So yeah, we shall pursue our dreams, we shall go into battle, but somebody has to do the financing, right? Somehow the economics has to make sense. Otherwise, how do we do that? How do we go on pursuing the war unless we have enough funds for weapons, right? So yeah, so here comes probably the most prolific hurdle that we have to face for indie games. Why do we say that? Because as an indie, it's really difficult to convince people that you can make good games. I mean, come on, like if Bethesda comes on, or like CD Projekt Red or Santa Monica comes up and say that, hey, we're going to make another game. You probably played, let's say Santa Monica says, you probably have played God of War 4. Now we are going to make God of War Ragnarok. And now after that, we're going to make another God of War. Are you going to play that? Everybody is going to say, yes, we're going to play that. And when they ask their investors, will you give us fund for that? They say, yes, of course we'll do, because you have great success stories and you have everything. So it's very easy. Not very easy. They have their own complications, trust me. But like in terms of funding, so it's a no-brainer that the studios with proven success records, they get the upper hand. But for indie game studios, most of the time, people only have sets, sometimes a good team, and most of the time only like great passion for games. So it's really difficult in this world to get real cash by pitching only those things. But a few hacks for that. We'll talk about them. So yeah, but yeah, just be sure that you put enough importance on your fundraising, because like as you can see on the screen, about 70% indie games don't make it up because of lack of funds. So this is a serious topic, and you have to give it priority. I do understand. I also like a very passionate gamer. Like I have the speaker background applied, but otherwise, like you could have seen the PlayStation behind the back. You could see the TV before I was changing the background. So and before this talk, I was playing games for 3 hours, and on my birthday. So, but yet, like all I love to do, I mean, is to write games, design games, and those sort of activities. Those are my most favorite activities. But I do also have to work on funds as the CEO, because I know the importance of, because if we run out of funds, then all the good work done by my teammates will probably won't see the light of day, and you probably won't be able to play our game ever again. So this is important. This is crucial. So yeah, making games is important, but you have to have some guy or a small team, working on fundraising and fund management. This is very crucial. So this will allow you to play a game over and over again. So when you reach the game over page, you can actually say that, okay, play a game, if you have that fund. But if you do not, then that yes button will be blurred for you, and you will not be able to play or make games again. Anyways, so yeah, there are different funding sources, thankfully, for indie game studios, indie game businesses. But before we talk about them, this is one thing that I need to point out, that this is the most important of them all. You have to do the bootstrapping. I'm not telling you to sell your flat or sell your car to do the bootstrapping, but whatever added money that you have, that you can afford, whatever added time that you can commit, you have to commit that. Because if you're not investing real money from your project, at least even a single dollar, at least a single dollar, this is important. This is bigger than zero. It cannot be zero. You cannot just say that I have not spent a dime on my project. Then it does not make sense. I love games. So I spent like $2,000, $3,000 on my gaming setup because I love it. And if you love games, if you love to make games, so you have to spend whatever money you can. Like it could be $100, it could be $5 even. Our first investment for like working into games was $25. That's as less as it was, but it was real money. It was earned by doing tuitions, like teaching like younger students, like private tuitions. So that was what we could afford back then. We made a Google Play Store account back in 2015, but we did. And after we did that, the motivation, the drive changed drastically changed, because after you spend real money, you hard earned money on this, whatever the amount is, then you care more about it. That's how the human psychology works. So this is crucial. Spend your money. First of all, do not sell your house. Do not like break your insurances or whatever. Just don't go extreme, but no need to go extreme. But whatever money you can spend, do that. And this also tells your probable investors, partners, and publishers that you care enough for your project to have faith in you. It's important. Second, motivation has to be like motivation is up there. Like when you spend your own money, when you do your own work, like put real time on it, so it will showcase your motivation automatically, and this will drive the project most. And also like think about the resources you could use. So I will not tell you to abuse any potential options or like potential, let's say, opportunities, but whatever resources, whatever help you can get. For example, if you have a mentor, you can seek advice from him or her. If you have somebody who can help you with some initial concept arts, like by being a small part of the project or something like that, probably you could not afford him or her, but you can get them involved in some other ways. So you have to use whatever you can get at the early stage. So make use of your available resources. And also, the most important of them all is the commitment, of course, because at first, your indie game business, it's all about you and your team. So if there's no team, if there is only you, then it's only about you. So, so your commitment and your team's commitment, basically as a whole, so it basically means everything for the investors, for the upcoming publishers, for any developer studio that you're going to collaborate with. Because if you're not committed enough, there's a very long road, my friend. There's a very long road and very jumpy, very bumpy ride. So if you're not committed in the first place, then this is a massive red flag, and nobody will want to work with you. So make sure your commitment is, and whenever you're ready, you can take time. Like it's not mandatory to jumpstart your game immediately, although it's recommended, but like you have to account for your life situation as well. When you start, you have to commit, and for a time being, there will be no going. So yeah, let's talk about how to hunt these guys who have the funds, right? Investor hunting. So there are a few steps of investor hunting. So it will help you if you follow those steps. I mean, it's not guaranteed that they will ensure the success of the hunt, but they can surely help you out. So first of all, you have to decide what sort of investor that you're looking at. There are different types. I'll talk about them definitely. And then like after you list different types, then you have to find their investment patterns as well. Like what sort of investment do they make? Do they make investment studios? Do they indie studios investment only big game studio? Do they even invest on games? Do they even understand what you're talking about? And what sort of investment do they make? Do they make like long-term investments or short-term investments, safe investments or risky investments, VC investors or angels? So you have to find out their investment patterns if you can. This will help you in your pitch and in your filtration. Oftentimes it only matters that you reach out to your capability to reach out to proper people. Like this is very, very crucial. You can reach up to 100 people and have no success. And you can also like reach out to 25 quality people and have a couple of success on those 25 people. So it's important to know whom you should approach and whom you are approaching. So that's one. And also you have to watch out for red flags too, because the investors, they will look out for red flags. You should too in them, because like sometimes it's better not to take somebody's money. Trust me. Who are those people? We'll talk about them. But before that, let's talk about the investment types that you have, the potential funding options that you have as an indie game studio or business. So yeah, first of all, definitely there comes the angel investors. So it could be any angel investor, to be honest. Like it could be some game angel investors in the best case scenario, or it could be somebody else, like who invests, say, IT or software or machineries. I don't know, but like they have the understanding of the industry and they want to come to the game industry. Those kind of people, so those angel investors are also your target. They can be your primary target. There are game publishers as well. So game publishers, so as we all know that many times they provide the development funding and the studio can run by that money. I understand, I agree. At the same time, keep in mind that these fundings, they don't come very easy. I mean, they will take you through hell and drag you back once again to heaven before they give you money. So you have to have a very good polished demo, most probably, very concrete and very likable team and other things that we are going to talk about. So to convince them to get the funding. And oftentimes in my experience, as I have been talking to publishers for since the pandemic, like different sort of publishers in different networks, starting from mobile games to consoles as well and PC. So they want more assurance than those investors, because these people, I mean, it's their KPI to import different studios and give funds to them. So they do this for a living. So they are going to be the biggest critic of your games, like when in the fundings. So game publishers is definitely the way to go, but after you have some sufficient progress that can compel them to invest in your game or your studio. So be careful about the timing, and also like you have to be very vigilant. Start contacting them. You have to follow up. You have to keep them on the loop and maintain the relationship. So those things. So if you decide to go for publishers, make sure the timing is right, and eventually during your journey of pursuing them, you will have enough materials for them to judge you as a investment avenue. So keep that in mind. There's VC and there's grants as well. So yeah, so it depends on like what sort of stage that you are in, most likely. So if you're just starting up, or if you are on the idea stage, maybe, or the design stage, probably it's a good idea to go for angels. I think it's the only viable option. One of the, no, not only. You can also go for grants, I guess. But like until you have a substantial demo or something to showcase, which is convincing enough, it's not recommended to go to publishers. I mean, for funding. I mean, you can always go and talk to them. There's no harm in it. But you know, I mean, it will not go anywhere. I mean, they will not give you funds, most probably. So at that stage. So after you reach that stage, then you have options to take their funding and marketing and publishing support. So look out for that. And in terms of venture capitals, well, you have to be a successful game studio of some sort to actually get those. So that's a matter of like later discussion. Anyways, okay, so these are a few things that you need to do continuously. So remember I told you that like some people should work dedicatedly on this. So probably your CEO or the business team that you have, so they have to work dedicatedly on this. So this is important. They have to talk to the people to the industry. They have to make friends, share their ideas, and make a positive impression about the effort you are putting in. This is very crucial. Doesn't matter what sort of stage you are, it doesn't matter. So whenever you set the mindset, whenever you commit, remember commitment, when you commit, you start talking. That's the thumb rule. There's it should not be like that, okay, we need to figure out the data first or the design first, then I'm going to start talking to people. No, you never know what will happen from what conversation. And you need all the help in the world, my friend, because the odds are against you. You have to start talking as soon as you set your mind on it and fix your mind on it. So talk to different events and like connect to people, and eventually you'll find people, and the world will surprise you with many surprising individuals that I have also found out on my journey so far. So how to do this? Of course, like you have to do this juggle of primary and secondary connections. So like I know somebody that somebody knows somebody. Those things are always the best form of connection. I mean, those recommendations, because we human beings, we have limited brain capacity, memory capacity. So it's not possible for us to memorize like a computer, like the whole database of investors, publishers, developers of the whole world. But what you can do, and we cannot like run any algorithm on our mind to figure out like, okay, this is the search filter or something like that. So what we can do to increase the success rate is to put ourselves out there and make positive impression on people. And positive impression, they get shared. You see, positive energy, it gets shared among people, your peers. So if you're doing good, or if you have a good intent, if you have a good story to tell, and if you tell that to me, I'll tell this probably in one of my conversations to somebody else. And that somebody can be crucial in your journey in the future. It's like the butterfly effect. So you have to start flapping your wings. So talk to people, make connections, go to conferences, go to events like this. I mean, I absolutely love what they're doing. And these same organizers, I think they also organize like JIST and other like big events as well. So these guys have changed the dynamics of the game industry. They have let us indie developers put ourselves out there and be seen in a world where like it's very difficult. So you have to attend them. I mean, there are lots of options, to be honest. Like right now in today's world, there are lots of conferences. You should not only rely on the GDC. I mean, it happens only once in San Francisco, and I do understand it's probably the one, but like you cannot only focus on that. I mean, yes, it's the most important one, definitely, but you have to understand what your position is, and you cannot just rely on one conference. That's sort of dumb. So you have to, like, good people can be anywhere. That's one thing that you need to do. And at your stage, you have to figure out that, excuse me, you have to figure out that similar people like you, so where are they? So which conferences that they go to, which events they attend? You have to be there. And when you go there, even if you don't like learn anything new, that's not going to happen. I mean, I cannot remember any conference where I could not learn anything new. I mean, it's always a massive learning opportunity in 2 or 3 days. At the same time, you get to meet like amazing people and hear amazing stories. So I cannot express the importance of attending events and conferences more, I think. I mean, this is one of the like most important and non-deniable hacks. And yeah, social media. I mean, yeah, it's obvious. I mean, I'm not the like best handler of social media myself, but I keep telling my team, but well, I try to. And yeah, probably some people are better at it and making the most use of it. So yeah, be visible there. It's really important. The social media and the metaverse. Yeah. And after you sort of work your way throughout the game design documents and make some like pitch decks maybe and some game demos, so you have to you can just stay at your home and play this game and demos all by yourself. You need to get them out there, trust me, to quality people. And even if they're not impressed, so you have to kind of keep talking to them, because you have to ask for feedbacks. See, this is really important. Like, this has similarity to many different apps out there that we use nowadays. We see different startups getting like billionaires, getting acquired by billionaires, and being the most successful businesses of all time, maybe. So those kind of things, like for the last decade, I think. Um, so they use the same tactic, like software development life cycle and agile methodology, those things, if you are familiar with those things. So you make something and you test it out with real people who will be your users, like your gamers, in our case. So whatever you come up with, so whatever you have, be it like 2 minutes demo, 5 minutes demo, some concept arts, show it to people you are comfortable with and you are not comfortable with. This is important. But show it to your critics as well. The people who can do constructive criticism, not haters, but constructive criticism. So this is important. Otherwise, you cannot improve. So feedbacks are like immensely important. And whenever you are pitching to investors, just remember one thing, that yes, your game idea matters, but in the big scale of the universe and the cosmere, maybe, so it's a very little tiny thing that has not happened. And for somebody who is just listening to it for the first time, so it's probably just a tiny droplet in the ocean of dreams. So yeah, there's a like literally 100% chance that he does not like the dream, or 100% chance as well he might like it. But it doesn't matter, because it's still a dream that you're selling. But so dreams are not probably the biggest weapon in your arsenal in this case. Something else is. That is the mathematical probability of success. How do we measure it? It's simple. Like, if you don't have any success to get, at least you have something. You have your armory. You have your, whether it's only you or the bunch of people that you're with, you have to sell that. You have to showcase to people, investors, publishers, whatever, or like your co-partner, possible co-partner in development, some studios maybe. So you have to show it to them that you can pull it off. You want to pull it off, and you will go all the lengths in the whole world to pull it off, to see it pulled off. If you can establish that particular message in those brains, you'll be floating in the ocean of money, my friend. So yeah, not jokes apart, like showcase your strengths. Like, what sort of strength do you have in your team, and how does it relate to what you are willing to make? If you have good writers, good game writers, focus on a story, like having a story heavy element in your game will help. Like, that will convince people that you can tell a good story, so you can make a game that has a good story in it. If you have kick-ass programmers in your team, so you can showcase that, okay, we have this complicated mechanics explained, these things, and we can still pull it off because we have like so many good developers, and they have done this in their life, and I'm pulling it together. This is my profile, and this is my pitch. We are going to make incredible games. So that is the pitch, if anyone wants to hear. Nobody wants to hear that we'll make another spin-off of Age of Empires or Assassin's Creed that will break history. unless you have already one of those games. So being an indie studio is not expected. So yeah, don't go into that path. Will be my recommendation. Focus on more rather than your game idea. Talk about your game idea, of course, but you have to relate it to team skills, team capabilities, and experiences. This is important. Otherwise, it might not be very convincing. And this is also very crucial after you kind of convince people sort of to invest in your team and your dreams. So you need to prepare a budget, of course. You already have a budget in your mind. You have always had a budget on your mind. And one silly mistake that developers do at early stages, that they don't account for the marketing stuffs. Even if you like have a publisher at your hand, you have to do some sort of marketing from like your end as well. Keep that in mind. And there are costs to business development. There are certain costs to business development. You have to incur those budgets as well. So when you are counting how much money you need, you have to count everything. You cannot just complete a round of $1 million, let's say, just for the sake of talking, $1 million, and you thought that it was enough. And after you raised it, after 6 months have passed, you realize that it was not enough. So all on a sudden, you have to do another fundraising round, and it can be challenging for you. So it's better to be safe, to understand what you need first, because things will change. Things will definitely change when you are working like along the path. So you have to keep provision for those changes. You have to keep provision for things going wrong. Some developer can quit. Some senior architect can quit. Or like they can have a family tragedy in their family. Or let's say some accidents happen in your office. Many things can go wrong. So you cannot just say that, okay, we have this plan A and we are going to use all of this and be successful. It can go wrong. It can always go wrong. So keep provision for changes and things going wrong. And also, like, you have to like put some realistic numbers, I guess. Some people, like, whenever you are planning for something, like, be communicative, like talk to the people, talk to the investors, talk to the people who are doing the due diligence with you, who are seeing your budget and evaluating it. The way you make your budget will also tell them how good you are in fund management. And trust me, this is really, really important. Because like if you're not good at, if they have that impression that you are not good at fund management, so most likely it will be very difficult for them to go through the rope and finally give you money, even if that you can make good. So this is equally important. You have to be convincing in terms of your fund management, your fundraising, and you have to be good with money. You have to be good with money. That's what I'm trying to point at. These little things matter in very small deals, like oftentimes people choose to overlook these things, but let me tell you this, these are important. And if you don't have these skills, feel free to knock anybody, like somebody who has done it. You can even talk to me if you are connected, or anybody in the game industry that has done it, or just watch some videos, maybe some talks like this. Like, there are resources, there are enough resources to get help. There are enough people to get help from, but you have to ask for it. Help is always given to those who ask for it in Hogwarts, right? Anyways, and yeah, this is the interesting bit. Like when you're looking for Batman, aka who has money, so you have to look for these traits. So these are different levels that they need to pass. They need to have, or they need to entertain passion, because game development is a very passionate thing. It's not a very rigid machinery thing. It's a thing of love. They have to entertain it. They have to be receptive towards passion. And the best case scenario, they have to be passionate. Well, like if they are passionate for games, well, that's amazing. That's the best you could ask for. Let's talk about trust a bit, because investors they will be your partners, right, in your studio. So in terms of partners, you need to have trust. because things will go wrong. Many mishaps will happen. Sometimes targets will not be met. Sometimes it will seem like an utter despair. But in those days, you have to have trust. You have to have trust. And trust will save the day in most of the cases. So it is very important. Well, the bigger hurdle is basically the type of investors that we're talking about. He has to be, or she has to be, or they have to be risk-taking, because game development is a risky business. It's a risky business. No denying that. We have seen this, we know the industry, everything. So you have to be willing to onboard somebody willing to take. And there are safe investors out there. There are risk-taking investors. You have to go with the risk-taking, because safe investors are not probably that much suitable for indie game business. And if you have like level 1, you have to definitely pass. And if somebody passes your level 1, they're eligible, trust me. And if you have more than 1 people in the level 2, then you can look for these filters. So it's good to have somebody who is already interested in game industry. Then you don't have to pitch the whole game industry is good. It's 10 times bigger than Hollywood or something like that. Those stats and those speeches, we all know them, right? So you can keep those details, like if they are already invested in game industry. So that's a good thing. And also they will also they can, if they can also add some values, like if they can probably manage people and help you in your like production, or probably help out with different risk connections. So those things, like apart from money, if they can help out in any other ways, that would be amazing. That would be really amazing, and it will help you in many cases. If you remember the first portion of my talk, I talked about getting help, like getting all the help and all the available resources out there. This is important. And that's why if they can add value in multiple dimensions, it's going to be good. And also like having
sorry to interrupt. We are almost out of time. So if we can finish
wrapping it up in 3 minutes, maybe.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, industry knowledge is like immensely important as well. So they can help you out like in different cases where like things don't go your way. So they can understand that this is how it happens, and they can also advise you on what to do. So avoid these kind of people who likes to play safe, not a risk taker, likes to watch his money, because like when you're making games, you don't have time for like doing specific explaining how much a tissue box costs you. So if somebody wants to do that with you, don't get in bed with them. Okay. And also like who have their own opinion and not afraid to share those and provides constructive criticisms, though those are good people that you should look for. So yeah, we talked about risk taker investors, and also don't always rely on verbal commitment. It's never done until it's done. Get the money in the bank, sign the agreement, do the legal papers. After that, it is done, because many deals, they also they break down after they do the verbal commitment. Verbal commitment is not enough. I cannot express this even more. So yeah, be very communicative with your people. Like I cannot explain this. I cannot explain the importance of this enough. I mean, this is a very rudimentary mistake that many of the game developers do. Don't do that. Talk to people, keep your documents updated, and share it with the stakeholders. Who wants to hear what, who wants to hear like what report and what documents. Constantly check your milestone and communicate the delays with your people. Make a routine and be transparent. Please be transparent, because if you start hiding, it's like breaking a glass. If you get caught, then these people will not trust you ever again. So don't do that. And in terms of crowdfunding, well, trust me, like it's a bit difficult these days. You're sort of a celebrity for those things, but yeah, there are different options for this. So they can give you like initial feedbacks and can be proven useful to you. Venture capital is not everyone's cup of tea, of course, before you reach certain stage. So yeah, there are different grants all over the world. You can also try out for those things. And just to finish my talk today, we're going to talk one slide about fund management. So focus on long-term assets. Always focus on long-term and focus on making your core team happy. And try to go on a lean budget at the beginning, because you don't know when things are going to go right. It can take a month, a year, even 2 years, 3 years. You have to keep provisions for those things. And sometimes it's okay to let go of people. Many times we see game developers clinging to certain things that probably they will turn out to be good, but be okay to let people go as well. So also part of the deal. So yeah, so remember that you can sign up for failures, but as long as you manage your expectation and validation properly, you can still be there and rise like a phoenix after every failures. And in game development, that's all that matters. Like, how many times do you get up? How many times can you get up? It's all that matters. So yeah, I hope to get connected to all of you on Discord or LinkedIn, or shoot me a message on WhatsApp, mail, Facebook. I use everything, honestly. So thank you for having me once again, Indieway. And yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for joining us today.
Serdar, soru vardı aslında ama vaktim.
Süremiz neredeyse hiç. O yüzden soruları mail yoluyla ya da LinkedIn'den iletebilirlerse o şekilde ilerleyelim.
Okey, tamamdır.
Okay. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.